Gentlemen, welcome back to the shop. We're getting down to the nitty gritty with the refinishing the Stanley number 5 hand plane. And by nitty gritty, of course, I mean grit, sandpaper grit. So this piece, 220. This is just a piece of whatever Task, I think, is Walmart brand or something. Automotive sandpaper works great, whatever. The wisdom of the intertube says to spray adhesive this down to a plate of glass or something that's, academically perfectly flat and level. But what I've got here is a chunk of melamine particle board shelving, melamine covered particle board shelving. It is very dimensionally stable, unlike a piece of lumber, which would just warp and twist with the humidity and whatever. So this is a very stable platform, and it's certainly as accurate as any woodworking I will ever do. So that's where we start. We're going to take a piece of the 220 grit here. It's a good place to start. And we're going to refund this a little bit, back and forth, around and around. We're not putting a lot of pressure on it. I'm just going to hold the paper down with one hand, see how well we do. So I want to see what the condition of the sole of the plane is here, and see kind of what shape it's in, how lumpy it is, and how twisted it is and stuff. So let's go at that for a bit. Yeah, shows some promise. Okay, good. That's fine, and we'll do the same on the sides. We're not going to do we'll do the same with the sides here, but it's good. We'll get to a real honing of that at some point. Right now, we're going to do some of the small bits so we can load the plane body back up with its components and get it under tension from all the stuff that needs to be on here to make a plane, just in case tightening these things in twists the body or tensions the body up. So we'll do those first. Stuff like the iron, of course, it's very important to most of this process. So when I go to the back, this is the bevel side up right now. This is the back. I'm going to throw the back side down here and work on it for a minute just to see how level it is. So that is cleaned up quite a bit. It looks like, if you can ignore the pitting here, it certainly looks like the edge area is not too bad. It's quite evenly bright. We'll go a little more. That's not bad. We'll move on with it like that. I'm just going to flatten the bevel side. Yeah, not bad. It's coming clean along the edges here and across the top of the bevel. Not bad. Let me hit the sides a little bit, just for cleanliness. Not bad, not bad. And we're gonna go try to work this thing a little bit, the chip breaker. It's curved, so I'm gonna curve my sanding. You like curve your enthusiasm? We want to get this down to a pretty pointy edge, almost edge. Let me clean those sides up too before I forget. Not bad. So you want this to be all kind of smooth and decent for everything to mount and mate against each other, and you don't want weird stuff fetching up when it's adjusting. So the beauty of this portable sanding platform, and you could do this outside on a nice day if you wanted, I guess, but the real beauty is that you have an edge that you can work over. I can pull this over to the edge of the bench and go way and tip things way down. Like if this was my bench, I could tip things way off the edge of the bench to work on this. So I'm just going to get on the edge. I have enough angle here, just off the edge of this melamine. And I can just work a little bit of magic in here. We want this to be kind of a dull blade, or not dull, but a kind of a secondary blade. Here's my iron. So you want the chips coming off of the iron instead of curling up in here. Like if there's no chip breaker, they'd follow the iron up quite a ways and foul up into all the workings, like the lever cap and stuff. But we want it to come off of that blade and then just kind of peel up here, and that'll force it to curl. So therefore you want this join to be as tight as possible. Those are okay. The iron is not sharp. We're going to clean this frog up. Now you see, this thing has all this mating surface, which should be as smooth and flat as possible, so that when it mates against the back of the iron, the bottom side of the iron, it doesn't have any weird lumpy bits or anything like that. There's a mating surface here and here as well. So this and this. I'm just gonna feel the just make sure that's clean. It's not bad. It's just flat here, flat here. It might be a little low in the middle. That doesn't hurt my feelings. So again, on this side, we can't go flat against the paper because it's got bits sticking out through it here. So we're going to go to the edge of our board again, so we can get this onto the edge here, and then the bits can dangle off the side, which I'm sure some of you are used to. See, it's going to land here and here. It's going to land here. It's going to land here and here. The rest of this, you know, immaterial in my opinion. A little low spot here and there won't bother the support of the iron. Will still be good on top of there. Like that sits on there just lovely. So we're not worried about that. So that's the frog mostly sorted out. This side's a little scuzzy here. We might do the old wrapped up sandpaper trick. Not even worrying about the yolk here, because that probably needed a little rub anyway. There we go. Now we have a smooth surface in there as well. Lots of nice smooth mounting surfaces for parts. Oh, should get those spots too, now that I see it. Thankfully we have a stick just for that. There. Even. Alright. Hands up, class. Who can remember how this goes back together? Let's start up front. Anyway, a little snug there. Oh, yes. Not a rattle or anything there. Beautiful. This has worked pretty clean here, pretty free. I might wire wheel this at some point, but not necessary at this particular juncture. I'll line all of our bits up here, and you might be able to see into the frog hole. which by the way is the name of my third album. We will pop these little mamma jammas in here. So if you had a straight edge like this, you could get in here and get your frog aligned with the angle. So the angle of the frog should match the inside of this, inside of the mouth, so that it all turns into one sort of continuous slope. That's pretty good there. Some of these other parts are probably important too. Let's go. The chip breaker, the iron assembly, perhaps it would be called. I'm just gonna slap that up into position here, ish. About there. Give her a little torque down. Just feeling from the sides that they're both aligned this way with each other. Do 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 do. Boop. I'm gonna get my gloves on again. What we wanted to do was get everything that's attached to the body, that's grabbing and pulling and twisting and whatever, all in situ, so that then we can go like this. Again, checking no plain iron sticking out. What do you want to get in here? We want to see what the foot of this thing looks like. So I'm going to glove back up because it's cold. And we'll give her a go. Switch your directions around. You go in circles, long ways. Ah, look at that. Get this on an angle where you can see it. So we're not looking that bad here. There's a little bit of a hollow in here. A little hollow back through the center of the belly here, but all along the sides look like they're very well supported. I would like to get a little bit more of an even grind here, and that, you hear that? The toe and the heel both are a little bit roughed up, so we want to smooth those out too. So do those. Here are little twisters. So we don't want this to catch. And we'll do the same back on the heel. Sort of rock it from side to side a little bit. And since that's going so swimmingly, we'll also take a whack at the cheeks of it here just to see. Because these should be nice and true as well. That cheek's looking not bad. You can do this basically ad infinitum until you go insane in the membrane. But like I said, I'm not a fine cabinet maker. I would just like for this to be a pleasant working tool. Again, on this cheek, all along the bottom ½ inch or so. Super good. A little crustier up towards the top. Similar on that side. Given the history of the plane, or the abuse, not a surprise. Don't! Yeah, that's not bad. And we'll touch this edge along too. Good. Now I'm going to grab another piece of paper. Try not to breathe too much of this cast iron dust in. It gives you the lung. It'll give you TB or miner's lung or something. I would love to get this area right here kind of smooth like from here to here, kind of, and then the edges back would be swell. So we're going to keep going at her. You can really see the results. Now the smart people would take a Sharpie and mark this all up, but I forgot to bring a Sharpie. I go like this, and you can see Marky. Everybody pretend that's a Sharpie. And then you can see when that moves off by the sandpaper. And you'll see what's left for marks, but the bottom of this thing was so rough that it's not hard to tell what's been smooth sanded and what hasn't. It's coming along really nice. We'll give her another little shot here. Getting quite pleased with that, actually. It's just starting to pick up in here still. So like the belly of this is very hollow. I wonder if aside from the obviously horrible abuse this thing has seen, I wonder if it was used a lot on edging, like jointing edges, over the past 60 or 70 years. Wore that belly down. Maybe caught a few nails or things on the way as well. Because if you were doing big face planing, it should have been probably more even than that. But I'm going to switch up my paper one more time, give it a last go. Alright, just going to touch those cheeks off again before I settle in on the bottom. Alright, we're looking pretty good there. Pretty good. Knock that out of the way. I'll take my hands out here so I can touch and feel a little better. Knock off some of the schmoo. These edges are quite smooth. A little flea bite there where it's scratched. So you would want to grab that as well. Just like bodywork on a car, your hands are way better for seeing it, for feeling something than seeing it with your eyes. Not bad if I do say so myself. So next will be sharpening, disassembly and sharpening.